Please welcome America's accountant, Dan Geltrude, as he crunches the numbers and maybe tries to convince me otherwise. Dan, thanks for being on the show. Now, obviously, that's tongue-in-cheek. I had to hear it all weekend. I almost didn't want to even take the bait, but I think I'm going to take it to the next step, and that's this, right? They're going to sit there and tell us how we're not in a recession. But what if the numbers actually do get worse? Then what are they going to say?
Well, you got me, Scott. I don't know what the next line of spin is going to be after this. But look, here's part of the problem. So now you have the administration changing the definition of a recession. Okay, I guess they can do that if they want. But how about the media, people such as yourself, to call them out on it and say, well, wait a minute, this is the definition by all accounts. What's changed? The definition didn't change. And as I've said a number of times on this issue, one of the founding fathers, John Adams, he nailed it. He said, facts are a stubborn thing. So you can do anything you want here, Scott. A recession is a recession is a recession, and we are in one. Period.
Right. And now, then the next thing is we have to wait until the NBER comes out and says something because they're supposed to be a partisan group. Whatever. At the end of the day, they would have come out for the last 75 years and said that that's a recession every single time. And the best line I heard over the weekend was, we've got 2 quarters of receding GDP. Receding GDP. I mean, any of those that have taken Latin know that might be close to the word recession too, right? So the mere fact that we're shining light on it by arguing about its definition, I think is the wrong thing to do if you're the administration. I think I would have done was say, hey, look, I know it's hard. Yes, it's something we would have not liked to have seen happen. We're with you. We get it. And this is what we're doing to try to combat it, rather than saying, no. How you're feeling is not how you're feeling.
Let me tell you, I don't disagree with you, all right, except the facts as they are, and then talk about how you're going to deal with it. Let's go to fairyland here and just say, okay, the fairy tale is they accept we're in a recession. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Now the problem becomes, well, more bad policy. How about this? Let's go to more taxing and spending. Let's see how that works, even though historically we've seen over and over again, Scott, that is the worst thing that you could possibly do. All Joe Biden has to do is look at his former boss, Barack Obama, right? Obama wanted to reverse those Bush tax cuts so bad, but we hit a recession. What did he do? He said, now is not the time to raise taxes. Right? So why will it work now? It won't. So that's the problem. You don't accept the situation, and even if you did, you're going to put more bad policies in place that only makes it worse. So let's see what the new definition is going to be next quarter.
Okay, so to your point, I mean, they're going to pour $400 billion onto this dumpster fire of an economy that we've got going on right now with this thing called the Inflation Reduction Bill, or whatever it's called, Act, right. Which it actually does the exact opposite. If you're pouring, more kerosene onto that fire, you and I both know what's going to happen there. And at the same time, just to take a little bit of a right turn here, we're also going to be going further down this route of getting rid of fossil fuels and agriculture, almost, with this Green New Deal, this Green New Agenda. And I've coined the phrase now on the show, if you want to go green, it basically means you're going to go hungry, right? So now they're going to foist this new mantra upon us, at the same time pour gasoline on the fire. How are we left with that?
Well, nothing good. So now, I've always said this, right? The politicians don't really understand very much, except everything related to re-election. So to me, the only way there's a chance at reversing some of this really terrible policy is that you have, quite frankly, a bloodbath in the next election where the Democrats really get crushed, and you do have this red wave come in, and now Congress is completely controlled by Republicans. Because the message there, and by the way, Scott, Republicans haven't done such a great job with how we handle our finances either, right? So this is just a much worse situation. So if the people are going to stand up and say, this is so unacceptable, we're throwing you all out and going down another path, perhaps the message will be received.
Okay, so real quick before we go, I'd like to get your feedback on this real quick. As far as how long do you think this recession will be and how deep?
Well, it's interesting. I was asked that very question right before. We've talked about it. I think this is going to be long and deep. And I don't think that we fully come out of this until after 2024.
I did not expect that to be your answer. Really didn't, Dan. I mean, because I'm more in the shallow long camp, not deep. But we'll have to wait and see because we're getting some of these inflation numbers, consumer confidence numbers. I mean, a lot of the things I highlighted in the monologue, there's just not a lot of good news out there right now. And they keep pointing to 3.6% unemployment, which is going to rise. I mean, look, Amazon, those were the heroes in 2020, right? Those people were now they're going to fire 100,000 of them globally. I mean, that's got to tell you how quickly things have changed. I mean, that's exactly what I've been talking about, but these things don't stick around a long time. Anyway, before I go onto a bigger rant and start sweating and my blood pressure goes up, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Dan Geltrude from Nutley, New Jersey. He's going for long and he's going for deep, so we'll see how that goes. All right, here's a look at the equity markets.